సో డైరెక్ట్గా నేను angular.ioకి వెళ్ళిపోతున్నాను. angular.io. మీరు ఇంకా వేరేది ఏది చూడకండి. ఐ డోంట్ రికమెండ్ ఎనీ అదర్ వెబ్సైట్ టు బి ఫాలోడ్. ఆర్ఎల్స్ మీకు ఓపిక ఉంటే మాత్రం edupoly.com, ఓపికని కాదు, దీంట్లో సింపుల్ స్టెప్సే ఉంటాయి. ఎస్, హియర్ we tried our best to create a simple tutorial. Angular foundation నుంచి స్టార్ట్ చేసాము, టైప్ స్క్రిప్ట్ బేసిక్స్ అన్ని. ఒకసారి ఇది కూడా మీరు యూస్ చేయొచ్చు, ఎనీథింగ్ ఇస్ ఫైన్. ఓకే, ఇది డైరెక్ట్గా దాని నుంచి క్రియేట్ చేసిందే, బట్ ఐ ఫీల్ దేర్ ఆర్ లిటిల్ లెసర్ స్టెప్స్ ఇన్ దిస్. ఒకసారి చూడండి ఒకసారి. ఓకే, సో లెట్ us జంప్ ఇంటూ ఇట్. ఫస్ట్ మీరు ఫస్ట్ ఇష్యూ అర్థం చేసుకోవడానికి ట్రై చేయండి. The point is, Angular is a complete framework. React is a library. So in the React library, React is a library where we have some set of functions and we can make use of those set of functions to create user interfaces. But Angular is not like that. Angular is a complete framework. It is a complete ecosystem. It will be having all the set of features like when you want to interact with web servers, you have a HTTP library, I mean HTTP services in this particular Angular framework. If you want to handle forms, you have a separate service called reactive forms or template forms. When you want to do the routing, you have a separate service called Angular router. But all these features are not directly available in the React. They are not directly available in the React. They're all available in the separate libraries. You have to make use of those libraries, and you have to install those libraries and you can start using it. Something like that. Okay. Even to manage, okay, for example, managing the state in React, we have a separate library called Redux. Here also we can maintain Redux library. Of course, to maintain the state, we have a separate library, that is Redux. Of course, but for that you have to install ngrx. Okay, so that particular library is needed for sure as a separate one. Okay, na? Okay, let us dive into the Angular approach. Definitely we can't directly do this, like include the library in the head section and start using it. That will not be possible in Angular. Obviously you have to install the complete ecosystem. So how to install the complete ecosystem? Yeah, even I am on Mac. I don't remember how do I do that. Let me see this. Sudo you can see the installation command over there, npm install -g @angular/cli. Thanks. Thank you. ఒక్క నిమిషం. Angular CLI and enter. It's asking me the password. Have I entered or not? Wow, it got installed. So complete Angular CLI got installed in my computer. If you are running a Windows system, then you better use this particular command, npm install -g @angular/CLI. So if you observe here, I have installed this particular CLI, but I don't find any version, in which version we are running. Okay. So you can check it out. That is by ng -hyphen version. You can see I am using here. I have the version of Angular 13. Angular CLI I have installed as Angular 13, and I am using all these packages. I am having all these packages. Okay, no issues. So the current version I am using for Angular is Angular 13 in my computer. Yes, there is obvious possibility that we have already Angular 14. Yes, the version 14.0.4 is already out there, but for Mac we are still using 13. Okay, if you really want to install something latest, yes, that is also possible. That is @angular/CLI latest. Okay, just I would like to show you that syntax also. Angular CLI latest. So with this command in my computer, it is installing only the old one. I mean, not old one. That is the full supported version. Okay. Answer. @angular/CLI latest. Even these guys are not suggesting that particular approach, but if you really want to try, then you better try this latest. Okay. Anybody on the computer here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Jayshankar, can you please go with that command in your computer
Sure, sir.
and let me know if at all there are any errors.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So these things are possible. Please make use of it. Okay. Or else just use @angular CLI. That is well and good. That is very much sufficient. Don't need to worry about any other things. Okay. Next, once you have installed Angular CLI, we will have a command called ng. This command will in your computer. This command will help you to create applications. I repeat, this command will help you to create new applications. So whenever you try to create an application, you need not to start from the scratch. Okay, all the setup will be given by Angular. So you just need to make use of that entire setup. That's it, nothing else. So how do we do that? Okay, I'm in Pravi. Okay, sorry, I'm in users Pravi. Okay then. So here Angular 15. Okay, ng new Angular 15. So I am creating a new application with a command called ng space new space Angular 15. So Angular 15 is the name of the folder going to be created. In that folder, all the application will be installed. So would you like to add routing? Yes, I want. And what styling you want? I want only CSS. So you can see okay. In the Praveen folder, ANG15 got created, and you can see angular.json, karma config, all these files are created along with src folder. In the src folder, already there are some certain files which I have already created, which the application already created, like index.html, main.ts, polyfills.ts, styles.css, test.ts. These are the supporting files. What do we need? And this is the file which is being served when we try to run the application. And here you have app folder. Inside this app folder, you have already a particular set of files. In that files, the main file is app.module.ts and routing.module.ts. Okay. And apart from that, you have 4 files. They are all together forms a component. They all together form a component. So one single component takes 4 files, needs 4 files. So once I open this entire folder in the Visual Studio Code, then you will find out what is the importance and what is the code behind it. Don't worry about it. I would like to open this with Visual Studio Code, but it's okay. I'll open it like this. Open. Okay. So Visual Studio Code got opened. Open this. Folder. In that folder, you can find out these particular parts. Let us understand what is the importance of the files. So I'll come back to the folder. First, favicon is the icon on which comes on your browser. Index.html is the file which is going to be served when you start the application. When you start the application, this file is going to be served on the browser. This main.ts file is the file. Basically, it will be binded to your index.html. If you see the reality, these all files are not there. Whatever the word I just said, that is main.ts file, will be loaded along with the index.html file. I repeat, main.ts file will be loaded along with the index.html file. But in fact, that is not included over here. Am I correct? That is not included over here. Then how can you say that will be loaded? Don't worry. See, while you start the application, when you start the application, your Angular ng, your Angular framework will compile all the files, will bundle all the files into 5 files. Now it may be 4. Okay, I'll check it out. 4 or 5, let us say 5 files. These 5 files are going to be served to the browser. The whole application will not be served to the browser. Only these 5 files will be served. They will all will be binded into 5 files. We'll see that. How does it happen? All these things. Then you will understand. Let us first execute that. See guys, I have to explain all these things, but before that, first I will complete it. So once successfully completed the installation, I had to go to that folder. And then here I had to type ng serve. So this particular command will start the server. Will start the server. And you can, that will actually load the latest application on the browser, but it not happened on the Mac. Okay. You have to say localhost colon 5000 and enter. Oh, it is not 5000, it is 4200. So you can see the Angular application got loaded here. Hello, hello. Okay. So when I send a request, it is giving me this index.html file. But unfortunately, sir, this is not index.html, right? It's not looking like that. It's normal page. How can you say that? Here there is a new element called app root. So basically this app root is a component. Basically this app root is a component which will be loaded from your application. So here app root, you can see this here. The selector here I am using is app root. So somehow these are all configured. So app root means this component will be loaded. This component means all the 4 files will be used for it. Of course, you can forget about this. I don't want to delete it, but you can forget about the specs. This is for testing purpose. But now app component.ts is the main file, and HTML and CSS. This is actually being loaded. So just for your understanding, I am just removing everything and I am writing welcome to Angular world. Now you see the output. Automatically the browser is getting that output as welcome to Angular world. Hello. Okay. So that is the file actually being loaded in your computer, in your browser. This is the file. That means this is the component I am loading. Wait a minute. First of all, we started with a question that what is the importance of main.ts file? Whatever the code you have written, all that code will be bundled together to form a main.ts file. And this all code will not be served. Only 5 files will be served. That is what I said, right? So let us open the network tab. In the network tab, let us click on the refresh button. You can see, yeah, this is the request what I have sent, localhost colon 4200. Then what are the responses I have received? Runtime.js as a response we have received, polyfills.js, vendor.js, main.js, styles.js. Of course, WebSocket and favicon are other parts. So these are the 5 files I'm talking about. These are the 5 files. The whole application got converted into these 5 files. Even in the future, even if you have written 400 components, 300 pipes, 500 directives, 200 routes, 800 forms, whatever you have done, guys, all the entire application will be converted into these files only. In fact, main.js, not even any other, or main.js and styles.js. Others are regular files. In every application, the same files will be there. Runtime, I mean to say, same size almost will be there. So mainly main.js. Let us see what is there in the main.js. So here, the whole application got converted into this fashion in this particular main.js fashion. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah. App module, the whole application, you can see that. Even hello world can also be visible over here. App component. Sorry. Welcome to Angular world. The whole application got bundled together to form this kind of code. This is called as bundling. So for that bundling, it is using TypeScript and Webpack. Basically Webpack. Okay. For TypeScript conversion, it is using TypeScript compiler. Okay. So this is the overall. Can you see this? App routing.module.ts, app component.ts, app module.ts, environment.ts, main.ts. So whatever the main.ts was there, that has been added, all these things added with all these things. I hope you got my point. Yeah. So main.js. So whatever there in the main.js, that will be added with all the compiled code of this entire application. This entire application will be compiled to a common code, and that code will be added into main.ts. In the future, if you have in the future, if you have more number of components, even if you have more number of components, those all components will be bundled or compiled to a simple code, and that code will be processed into it. That code will be added to this. Okay. This is the process. This is the way it will be compiled and added into the main file. So, okay. Why main file? I just wanted to tell you. Then there is another file which got which created here. It is vendor.js. You can go through that. That is not there. It is created. First of all, runtime.js. This runtime.js will be created by the Angular framework, in fact, Webpack, which will be loaded the very first moment. Okay, that runtime.js will be loaded on your computer, not even index.html. The runtime.js will be okay. Index.html itself have resolved or accepted, but that runtime.js will be loaded first. In that runtime.js, you have code to load polyfills, vendor, main, and styles. Okay. So all the addresses will be given already in this particular runtime.js. Where is the polyfills code? Where is the vendor code? Where is the main.js code? Where is the styles.js code? All these addresses, all these modules will be loaded by, all these files will be loaded in your browser by runtime.js. Okay, that is the purpose of runtime.js. What is the purpose of polyfills? What is the purpose of vendor? Polyfills is such a file that it will add extra code if it is needed into your browser. Maybe the latest, suppose if you are using the latest features of JavaScript while you are developing the code, and this application may be loaded by some computer which has very old browser. In that case, your application should not, I mean, should not, what you say, broke, or it should not have any problem, right? So the application, if the browser is not supporting those features, it will check the polyfills and it will take those particular codes to work with the browser. Especially it is about versions. I mean, the JavaScript features. Okay, if some JavaScript feature is unable to be unable to executed by the browser, then polyfills comes and plays that role. That gap, fills that gap. Okay. Vendor.js is something about browser specific. If browser doesn't support any of the services, don't don't think about ES6 features only. Sometimes you may need to think about location services. Sometimes you may need to think about WebSocket services. Sometimes you may need to think about uh, gyroscope or audio video. There are so many other things you may need to think about it. So if any of the browser specific features are not available, but our application is using, then vendor.js will be used. Okay. So it has a capability to download that particular feature in the runtime and it will work with it. So like this, polyfills and vendor.js will support our Angular application if the browser doesn't support those features, the application features. As I told you, main.js is the JS file. All the application will be converted into one single main.js file when that is what served on your browser. Okay. Then styles.js, whatever the styles you have written in your application, those all styles will be converted into one single file that is comes under the styles.js. So as I just told you, we write the application like this, but this entire application will be converted into main.js and styles.js. Ultimately, these are the two things, right? Runtime, vendor, and polyfills are meant for something else. So overall application, even if you develop 100 components, those all components are bundled or compiled to form only one main.ts. Okay. For example, this entire Edupoly website got developed in uh, Angular itself. So let me show the inspect part. Okay. So here we have main.ts. You can see the length of the main.ts file. See this. Such a lengthy file. So it is in memory and 1.2. Resource size is 375 KB. The size of the file is 375 KB, the entire application. Okay. No other JavaScript files are there here. I mean to say, apart from the above. Okay. Then all the CSS styles.js will be created, and we are using bootstrap.min.css. Okay. All.min.css. So we have compiled in a different way. Yeah. What we have done is we have used SCSS. So the approach is different. If you have used normal CSS, then styles.js file will be created. Okay. Anyways, the whole my intention is the whole application will be converted into one single file that is called main.ts. So you need not to work on the main.ts. What should be done, how it should work already. defined, so you just follow them. Don't worry about those things. Now, while main.js is actually first being loaded, you can see platform browser dynamic dot bootstrap module is app module. So, okay, what is module, what is component is our next discussion. But before that, you have to understand that while you are launching the module being loaded, the very first module is going to be loaded is app module. Okay, so in the app module, you can see as a bootstrap, it will load app component. It will load bootstrap in the sense the meaning of the bootstrap, apart from the CSS, the original meaning of bootstrap is, yeah, the original meaning of the bootstrap is loading on the initial time. Okay, so when your computer is getting started, what do you generally say? Computer is booting, right? What do you mean by booting? Booting is nothing but it is loading. So bootstrap means at loading time, whatever you do, that is called as bootstrap. Okay, so I have assigned bootstrap with app component. What do you mean by this? At the initial time, I have to load this particular component. The name of the component is app component. Okay, and where I should load this component, that hook, I mean to say that particular holder. Yes, I know on the beginning I had to load app module. In that app module, I have to load app component. That is also okay. But where should I load? In the index page. In the index page, the in the index page, I said load over here. How how Angular knows to load the app component only in this particular place? For that, your app component itself has a definition that is called selector. The selector's duty is, okay, I have to, okay, whenever, wherever you found this app root as an element, I repeat, app root as an element, the name of the selector of the component, wherever it founds, this entire component will be loaded in that particular place. So yes, here in the index.html, you have seen app root. That is why that app component is getting loaded over here. Suppose if I changed the name of the selector from app root to my root, if I changed it, then the application throws an error here. So what is the error we got? My root did not match any element. Yes, the name of the I want in the app module, I have configured in such a way that app component should be loaded. What is the definition of app component? App component means this is the app component. That means the TS file, HTML file, and CS. This is app component. The app component selector is my root. Where is my root? There is no my root in any of the places. It will exactly expect the my root should be available in this. So here, instead of app root, if I say my root, welcome to Angular world is back. Welcome to Angular world is back. That means this is the place in which the basic component, the main component is being loaded. Main component name is app component. but the selector for that app component is my root. Okay, right. So these are all necessary to listen. I mean, first of all, you have to listen to these all things. That is one thing, that is okay. But the maturity, what exactly we are doing? Can anybody tell me what is the yeah, what is my root? In a raw way, can somebody tell me what is my root?
It's kind of an element.
Super answer. Very nice answer. That deadly, I'm expecting that answer only. It's a kind of element. So when I say it's a kind of element, yes, it is a kind of element. But tell me, is it a predefined element or custom element?
It is a custom element which is defined by us.
Nice. It's a custom element. What do you mean by custom element?
Just now we customized it.
Just now we customized it. Acha?
Like we changed the name.
No. What is custom?
As per our requirement, as per our name convention, మన ఇష్టం వచ్చినట్టు మనం రాసుకుంటున్నాం సార్, కస్టమైజ్ చేసుకుంటాం.
You are coming to the point. Yes. So it is not customized. What is the best car for the customization?
మారుతి 800 సార్.
అవునా?
అంటే మనకి ఇష్టం వచ్చినట్టు చేసుకోవచ్చు కదా సార్, లో కాస్ట్ లో.
అరే భయ్యా, అది ఫ్రీయే కదా, ఏ రేంజ్ లో వారో చెప్పొచ్చు కదా. ఊహ కూడా కాస్ట్లీ ఉండదా? ఓకే, ఎనీవేస్, నాది కాదు జులైది ఇది. ఎనీవేస్, ద పాయింట్ ఈస్ రేంజ్ రోవర్ is a very much customized car, in fact. Okay, so that means they will design according to your need, or we can design our own way, right? Our own way of car. Customized watches, customized iPhones, they're all very costly. Okay, customized biscuits, right, customized pens. I had to order for my institute customized pens. What are customized pens? Yeah, now you can easily tell me what is that customized pens. Hey, come on here. Customized pens, customized bags, customized erasers, customized notepads, customized water bottles. What do you mean by them?
మన కంపెనీ లోగో ఉంటది అక్కడ, మనది కలర్స్, కంపెనీ కలర్స్,
మన పేరు మనకు ఉంటది, మన పేరు తోటి మనం క్రియేట్ చేసుకుంటాం. yes that is what. So we will create with our own brand, our own name. So here I have created an element with our own name. Srinivas garu said the right word, but the point is I just want to give you that point. Here we are creating our own type of elements. Here we are creating our own type of elements, right, with our own names. For me, that is what the customization means, customized version means. Is it understood? Yeah. So element, how do we create a customized element? What is, in your opinion, what is a customized element? Customized element is nothing but a component. First of all, customized element is nothing but a component. Okay, so a customized element can be created by creating 3 files. One is app.component.css, app.component.html, and app.component.ts. That means for simple component, how many files we have to create? 3. Actually, minimum only one, that is component.ts. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. So if you don't want, you can eliminate these two. Sorry, I'll tell you. Yeah. And you have to make use of here template is h1 high angular. So now I can remove in fact this two. So how many files for a simple component? I need only one file in fact, that is app component.ts for app. What is the name name of the component? That is app component. What is the selector of the component? That is my root. Okay, so I'll save this, and if you open, I got only high angle. If you really want to apply the style, you can apply styles is equal to, you can write the styles also, but don't do that. But how many lines of HTML will be written? How many lines of HTML you can write it over here, right? So, okay, one, two, okay, if you want to write one more line, then is it possible, guys? Hello? One more.
Possible, sir, but it won't look good. I mean, it is
How it is possible? Yeah, it is possible, but how it is possible?
uh, sir, some symbol is there, right, sir? We
Yeah.
use it to,
So backtick character.
yeah, this one.
So with the backtick character, you can create multiple lines if you want. That's okay. That's possible. That's what I'm saying. This is possible, but it won't be appropriate. So for that, what do? We create a separate file with some with the .html extension. See here, I can write down app dot component dot html. This is the general approach. No, sir, I am very crazy. I want to name it as abc.html. Okay, do that. And here, whatever the HTML you want to write, you please write it down. అవునండి. So here, H1, H2, H3, high angular, it's not that complex. We make it more interesting. But when you have now the output will be different. Template cannot be empty. So when you have a separate file like that, you have to make use of template URL, not template. Template means direct template. Template URL means it's a file you have to give. So you can give the file name abc.html, which is available in the same folder. So like this. So now you can see here. So what is the purpose of template URL? Template URL make the UI the HTML separated from the component. Otherwise, you have to write it. In fact, Java's React follows the same approach. That is, everything will be written in the same file. Okay, so that's really complex, in fact, but it's okay. Once you have be habituated to that, that will be a different case. Okay, so a component will be loaded like this. First of all, let us not worry about what is module, what is component. I mean, these all things I will explain you today itself, what is component also. But we have to more focus on what is component and what we can do with the component today. Okay, I had to give you more work on it. So just give me 5 minutes of break. Once I'll be back, I will give you how to use the component for a better purpose. In the meanwhile, try to install at least Angular 13 in your computers. Yeah. Yeah, guys, I definitely need a break, guys. లేకపోతే కష్టం. Okay, so yeah, so we are just trying to understand what is a component and how to use it. I'll go back because what we were discussing about is what are the other files we are talking about, right? Yeah. So what is the purpose of index.html? What is the purpose of main.css? And this test.ts is the file which is used for configuring your test cases of your application. Okay, once we come into this level, we'll discuss about it. And browsers lint rc, so lint files, that means whether you are writing it in a right way or not. Okay, linting errors will be checked over here. There is a separate, you can have a specific linting. For example, every variable should be started with the lowercase, something like, imagine. So that rule can be written over here, and you should not assign whatever the rules you want to maintain. Of course, TypeScript provide its own rules and regulations. Along with that, if you want to have a semantical aspects, okay, those things also discussed. Just one small point I just want to say. Linting errors. So static code analysis tool using flag programming errors, bugs, stylistic errors, and suspicious constructs. Errors in JavaScript. There are certain tools we have to analyze the code. Okay, you can use a separate linting files also. Okay, they will actually give you whether you have written the application in a right way or not. For example, the simple thing is here, if you observe, this is an error because of which particular reason. Just give me a minute. So after a new block, there should be only one space. Imagine, suppose, and you have not given one space, you have given almost two spaces after a new block. Then it throws an error. But that rule should be specified somewhere. Even after open bracket also, you need to give a space. Imagine if you want that also, then also that rule will be mentioned here in the linting file. Okay, so you can configure separately. When we really have that specifications, I will explain you when it will be used and what it should be used. Even you can configure your current editor like Visual Studio Code here. Okay, and then git ignore. This is one file which is very important. Here you have to mention when you are pushing the code into the GitHub or Git, some things should be avoided. So for example, node modules. Node modules folder is generally very big. You don't generally push that node modules folder into the server. So that node modules can be avoided. This is node modules. npm debug.log, yarn error.log. These things should not be uploaded into the server. Sometimes compiled output may be like this. These things need not to be uploaded into the not server, into the GitHub. Okay, so which things should be avoided? Which folders or which files should be ignored to push the while you are pushing the code into the GitHub will be given in this git ignore file. Okay, and then angular.json. Here, while you are working with Angular, there should be some configurations should be mentioned about the Angular, which version of the Angular we are using, And where is the styles file, where is the, what is the destination file, what is the output path for the bundled file. So even I want to explain more about it, but unnecessary right now because you are just in the beginning. So I don't want to go beyond this level. Basically, whatever the configuration you need for your Angular application, we mentioned it in the mentioned in the Angular.json. Karma conf is used for testing. Package.lock will be used for what are the packages you need to install when you actually install the same application at your end. Okay, these two are both the files will be used for the same purpose. Okay, there is a difference, but just wait for a minute. And tsconfig.app.i, okay, app.json, here TypeScript configuration will be given, okay, for about your application, and the overall TypeScript configuration file has been given over here. And tsspec.json is used for testing TypeScript files, that is your application, what particular testing engine we should be using and how to use it, all the configurations will be given. That means test files, for example, all the files need not to be compiled when you are running the development server. When you are developing, you need not to run the TypeScript files. Once you are done with your development, yes, you may need to run the TypeScript files, testing files to test your code. But which particular files are test files? Which particular files are test files? They are all included like this. Anything with .spec.ts or .d.ts, these two under src folder, whatever there, they have to be used for running the test cases. Okay, here with these two specifications, we have some files which are used or which are needed for writing the test cases or compiling the test cases. Sometimes your company may ask you to write the test file as .test extension. Okay, yes, you can write it, but while you are compiling, those files will not be executed under test cases. So again, you have to write it like this: src/all/all .test test. This may be needed if it is given by your company. Okay, so overall structure is this. Okay, right. So once you understood, don't worry about the module and all. Module, we will explain it. I will explain it module step by step, step by step. Right now, it is not necessary. First, we have to go to the component.ts file. So here, this is a component. Whatever you have loaded over the browser, whatever we got it in the browser, this is a component. Whatever here it is loaded, this is a component. For example, let me go to my website edupoly.com. So when I have clicked on edupoly.com, the very beginning step on the very launch time, actually I am loading a website. Sorry, I am loading a single component. Okay, inside that component, I have multiple components. So for me, this is a component. This whole top navigation bar is actually a component. After that, these are all component, big component. Inside that, you have small components. For example, when I click on it, I am loading a division here. That is actually a component. And when I click on JavaScript, it is again loading one more box. This is also actually a component. When I click on JavaScript Foundation, it loads a big component from here. This is all a big component till the end. Inside that, you have another component. This is one component. This is side panel component. And this entire box is another component. This is called as main area component. Like this, whatever the application it may be, this entire application is divided into components, small components. So first, what do is, we will try to create multiple components and we try to use one component in the other. But overall, the very first movement, what exactly is loaded, that is app component.ts. Okay, app component, in fact. Inside that component, if you really want to load any other component, you have to use, you have to load those components under index.html. Can you please ask me correctly? మీ తెలుగులో అడగండి పర్లేదు.
సెటప్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ మాడ్యూల్ అంటామా సార్?
Yeah, we group all the components into one module. Yeah. అలాగే ఎందుకు తీసుకోవాలి? Why should we actually group them into a module is also a separate case. Okay, there are multiple types of modules, but don't worry about it. Set of components ni module antamani kaadu. Under a module, we have components, we have services, we have routes, we have forms, we have pipes, we have directives, we have so many different type of elements. I mean to say, not HTML elements, they are called building blocks. There can be so many other building blocks also apart from component. Okay, according to the time I will explain you, but first of all, yes, whatever your assumption is right, that is under a module we have, so we have multiple components. All the components will be grouped together in one module. See, what is the reason why do we need these many folders or these many separate containers, or why do we need these all? There is a very important concept that is called as decoupling. So most of the application fails if all the building blocks are tightly coupled, then it is very difficult to maintain the application. Okay, so you have to write everything in a separate way. For example, the best example for me is, I have a mobile in my hand. In that mobile, all the components like processor, RAM, ROM, your what is a camera, Wi-Fi, everything got fabricated into one single device, one single motherboard, right? Everything is fabricated into one part, so that if I really want to change only my camera, it is not that easy. Okay, in front of my eyes, I have a plastic chair. So if one of the leg got broken, then the complete chair has to be replaced. There is no other alternate. Of course. Okay, but just beside that, I mean, one more chair is also there, that is a revolving chair. If I found any problem in one wheel, I can replace that wheel with other chair if I really want. Most of the wheels are of the same size. Are you getting me? So if it is detachable and if it is independent component, if it is independent from every other, then maintenance or reusability will be more. Maintenance and reusability will be more. Okay, so if you develop an application with a module called login module, right? So the same login module can be reused in other applications also. For example, in IBM, they are very strict about the reusability. So they don't want to write anything double. Yeah, in the beginning time, it takes definitely a lot of time to write in separate files. But yes, if you do that, that will be reused. So in Angular, in IBM, if you write something, that should be reusable. They are called as web components or independent components. Even module is going to be removed from the application very soon, from the Angular probably. That is what these guys are doing. But yes, they want to develop everything as a separate component, separate part. Okay, that can be reused so easily, and that will be configured so easily. I will explain you how the reusability works very soon now. Okay, let us jump to the component, basic component, and what all we have to understand about a component. I repeat, component is a combination of 3 files, right? Basically, one is TS file, HTML file, and CSS file. So the whole template, we write it in the HTML. The whole style will be written in the CSS file, and these two are configured as a component in the component TS file. And in the TS file, we write the logic. So I repeat, what do I do is generally HTML file is for template, CSS file is for what? CSS file is for presentation or style, and TS file is for logic, data, and configuration. In fact, this is called as metadata. Okay, foundational, we have to understand it. So we have to come to the logic later, but first of all, how do we maintain the data? So here already there is some data defined over here. There is a property called title, and this property can be directly accessed in the HTML file. So if you don't mind, can I make use of proper naming convention, app.component.html. Yeah, it is the UI. This what you want to present. That is what called template is. Okay. So here component.html, and here it is the component.ts. So here I have already the data as a property. This is not a variable. You can't define directly where x is equal to 100 in class. This is not possible. This is not possible. So we declare properties and we can assign values to that properties. Now I want to show this data in the HTML. I want to access the data available in the TS file in the HTML. So for that, I can use a syntax called interpolation. The syntax type is interpolation. So interpolation will be given in this double bracket syntax. Here you have to give the name of the property and save it, and you can see, oh sorry, so in the component, the template URL is with old name, that is app.component.html. So now you can see ang15 is here, right? That means this title I am able to use it in the HTML. So here I am able to access the TS file data in the template. Why we had to access, how you had to access is the second thing. Just what I am doing, I am just accessing the TypeScript file data or TypeScript file property in the in the template. Okay, generally we declare the data here, or we fetch the data from the server and we print it here. Okay. Okay. This approach, yes, for this we are using which syntax here? Here I am using interpolation syntax. But whatever I have done, that is accessing the data and I am able to bind it into the HTML. This is called as data binding. Data is binded from TS file into HTML file. This is called as data binding. Okay, point number 1. Next point is you can use some directives to present the data in a better way. Just try to understand. For example, here I have some data like students is equal to Rahul, Divya, Priya, Kumar. Okay, so there are 4 students. In fact, I can directly display the 4 students directly over here like this. Interpolation students. This gives you, oh, app component dot HTML. Students does not exist on type. What happened is I have defined the data, but I have not saved this file. Save every file. Okay. Yeah. Now Rahul, Divya, Priya, and Kumar are directly displayed on the page, but I want to display them in one after the other. I can do that like this. UL LI interpolation students of 0. That's it. So here inside this 2 brackets, you can use JavaScript syntax. Through JavaScript, I can access students, right? Students array. Directly, I can say this. So now it will display the output like this. Okay, here you can see Rahul is here. The same way, if I want to display the other students also. Students of 0, students of 1, students of 2, students of 3 gives me a complete list. But if I have 100 students, again, I have to come back to the template and I have to change all the values. Instead, I have a beautiful directive called ng for. The ng for directive will help us to iterate a particular element. I repeat, ng for help us to iterate a particular element. How it will be useful? For example, OL LI. I want to print each student in an LI. So I don't apply the ng for to OL. I'll apply the ng for to LI. See how do I apply it? Star ng for is equal to let. So okay, ng for syntax is ng for off. This is the keyword. Left to the left of the off, you have to declare a variable. And to the right, you have to give the array name. So students is the array name, student is the variable. So if you don't want, you just put S only. S is the variable. So first of all, if I leave this code just here, it will display 4 list items. So what you have to understand here is ng for will iterate this list item for each and every value of the array. So if the array is having 10 values, this ng for will iterate this li element for 10 times. So now first time when it iterated the li, at that time s will carry the first value. That means it will carry Rahul. When the ng for iterating the li for the second time, it will carry, the s will carry Divya. When ng for iterates li for the third time, s will carry Priya. Okay. Like this, ng for will iterate the li and I can display the s, because s is actually having the student, right? So now you can see this. What is the beauty of this ng for? Yes, using the syntax is not that easy, but the beauty is there. The beauty is, in future, if I have more students from the server, if I get more students from the server, I don't have any problem. ng for will take care of that. ng for will iterate for each and every student, then it will print it. Hello, hello, hello. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now we should not stop it over here. We should not stop it over here. You should know how to populate or how to bind the normal variable. You should know how to populate this array. You should also know how to access the array of students. Okay, array of objects, or let us first take the object, that is my details is equal to an object. So here first name is Praveen, last name is Bala. Okay, so now how can I access that? Let me have something called OL, LI, oh, sorry, UL, LI. So here my details dot first name. So my details is the object name and first name is the key. So if I save it, oh, my details, I'm sorry. Again, I have not saved this file. Now it will work. Yeah, Praveen here. So for the, but you can't iterate over object. I repeat, you cannot iterate over an object. You cannot iterate on an object. But still, if you really want, then I have not discussed that particular part in the class in the JavaScript, that is called as you can convert the object into an array by using object dot values and object dot keys. Okay, so try to have that syntax. I will explain that, no worries at all, but I will explain later combinedly for both of you. Okay, so object dot entries values, object dot entries gives you object, see this, object dot entries method return an array of a given object's own enumerable string keyed properties, like this. So this will be converted into this approach. Object dot entries gives you an array of arrays. Okay, so just go through that once, but that will be difficult, easy. But I just wanted to continue. Okay, yeah. First name, last name, age. Here it is. All my details are here. Okay, so now this is one part. Now you have to convert, when you have employees is equal to sorry, array of objects. That is, ename is Rohit, salary is 34,000. Okay, I don't. Kamoli 74. Yeah, please. Just 5 more minutes or 2-3 more minutes. That's it. Okay, don't worry. So here, name is Ravali. Okay. So like this, I have multiple employees. So I want to display those employees details in a list. So here for every employee, I want to create a separate list. And I ask you to implement the same thing in the table as an assignment to you. Okay. But I will be using a simple list. So here, I'll first take OL. And inside that OL, I'll have LI for every student. So here I can say something like star for every employee, NG for is equal to let E of employees. Inside this LI, each student should be displayed as again a list. So again, I will take UL and LI. So here I'm actually creating the template. So I want to display the first student name, ename and salary. So here E dot ename. So try to check why I am writing like this, E dot salary. So this code, the simple template. Oh, what happened? Salary.
Spelling,
Sir,
sir.
A.
Mm.
Sorry.
Okay, so first employee Rohit and its salary, second employee Tamoli and its salary, and Ravali and its. I want that same in a different thing that is called as table. I want it should be displayed in the table. So today I just explained what is the architecture of your Angular applications and how do we present that Angular application on the UI. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tomorrow we will, I mean to say one more thing is one-way data binding we have seen. That is from template to, sorry, from TypeScript file to template, we have accessed the values. But tomorrow, not tomorrow, in the next class on Thursday, we will see how other things will work. That is, when you enter the data in the component HTML file, how do we bind that data into the property of the component TS file, and how do we push the data into this objects, how do we push the data into the arrays. All these things will be discussed on Thursday. Okay, that's it for today. See you on Thursday.